I try to do a smooth transition because I'm doing this live in OBS without any editing, so I can't crossfade into the video. Was popular YouTube another day, another demo. We are into top 16 of the HLTV top 20 players of 2020. You guessed right, it's Henny. He is number 16. This is not my list. This is a live reaction. It's 2:42 p.m. My mom just came over and made some glögg, like some mulled wine. I'm having a little cup of coffee. I'm going to stream some chess in a bit. I know you guys hate the chess videos that have been coming out, but I'm playing a lot. I'm going to keep playing. It's going to be, yeah. So today, I played a couple games last night. I got to damn near 1,000 elo. And ever since I've been playing on what's it called? This new opening, because I switched from the London to the King's Indian, or apparently it's something like the King's Indian. I haven't lost. I've only tied. This is all King's Indian game. I learned yesterday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I've tied twice. Of course, you know, not exactly the highest level of competition just yet, right? Still just me trying to get to 1,000 rating. But yeah, I don't know what happened. Like I have not played chess in like a long time. And when I played back in like May, I played for a couple weeks and I just kind of dipped in rating, and then you just see I just kind of went just down. Like that's pretty much it. And then I just stopped for a while, and I didn't watch any chess videos. I didn't learn about the game, nothing. And then suddenly I just started playing, and then just started climbing. The game just makes more sense. It's so weird how just like a break helped me understand things a little bit better. But this isn't about chess. Well, kind of is. Counter-Strike's a lot like chess. I notice when I do play chess, I start casting in chess terms. I start thinking in chess terms. I was playing Dota, and I started thinking in chess terms in terms of how to optimize something. It's kind of cool. I'm very all over the place. If you couldn't tell by these videos, I'm very all over the place. If you couldn't tell by the amount of Google tabs I have open at once and the amount of things I'm trying to juggle mentally all the time and how badly of a job I do, I'm all over the place. So this is another thing. I think chess might help me be a more careful and thoughtful person, which I think maybe is why I like it. Okay, so what's going on here? Henny is number 16. So far, if I remember correctly, number 20 was Breeze. HLTV number 20 was Breeze. Then JKS was number 19. Number 18 was K Serrato. Number 17 was Crims. Number 16 is Henny. So 3 of the last 4 players have been North Americans. And I'm sitting here thinking I would never feel bad for Europeans. I thought I would never feel bad for Europeans. Well, look at me now. Sitting here feeling bad for Europeans. And it's just about what happens to the rest of this list when we talk about, how many spots are left for the other players. It's an interesting question. We're going to go ahead and take a look at my list in a second to talk about who I have at number 15. Of course, we just looked at Yuri Brokifim yesterday for my list versus what I predicted the HLTV list to be. Of course, at this point, it doesn't feel like our lists are going to converge at any point. But yeah, I mean, if you have something bad to say about Henny, you got to say it to me first, because I don't. Henny's the dude who maybe one of the along with like Brokey, one of the sickest roster moves of all time. With Henny, it was even more. It's not even more of a risk, but it was even more surprising how well he played coming into Furia. Whether that was because of Geary, because of art, because of the atmosphere, because of the fresh scenery, because of Henny as a person and how smart he is in terms of how he grows. How he's developed as a player has been pretty miraculous. I mean, some people remember Henny as being a very explosive star player opper who maybe had some comms issues. Zach talked about how he used to have to stand behind him at LANs and calm what he was doing to his teammates because he wasn't good at calming and opping at the same time, singing and dancing, if you will. Since then, and being a player that would take too many risks and hit some crazy flick shots, but take way too many risks, to now coming into Furia and becoming one of the more passive players on the team, staying equally as explosive. So now it's like a disciplined level of explosiveness where he can play positions that are risky because of where he's standing, but he always will deliver the kills. But now he's not pushing quite as much as he used to and delivering that op over. So I think we've got the best version of Henny possible. One of his signature spots. We named it. Me and Connor named the position in the corner of the A ramp after Henny because of how he played it on Vertigo. I think by far and away the best at it, and shows how strong it can be. And yeah, I mean, his development has been miraculous. And you know what? To be fair to this HLTV list, if there was one team that should have the highest amount of representation on this list from North America, it should be Furia, because they won everything. They won everything in North America. They played the best. Their top performers were Yuri, Quesarado, Henny, and I think Yuri has to be on this list now. But yeah, that means we've got 3 of 4 already. Plus, we know Yuri, we know Elige are guaranteed to be on this list. If these players are, they must be. So that brings us up to 6. We only had 7 players from North America on the list in 2019. Ethan, Cirque, JKS, Twist, Breeze, Naf, Elige. We're gonna have potential for the same amount or more in 2020 without a Grand Slam. Now we're going to talk about our prediction for who is number 15 for the HLTV top 20 players of 2020. This is a player who I've got on both my prediction for HLTV as well as my own, okay? This is a player who, in thinking about it more and more, I kind of feel like I even maybe should have pushed him up. This is a player who snuck under the radar a little bit. I've talked about him in the past. He's a player who is a core component of his roster, hands down. He's synonymous with big moments. He's a player who actually has the skill of Simple and he actually has the skill of Simple and Zebu, but not the consistency. I genuinely believe that this player can reach those highs, but not as often. It just doesn't do it as often, and not nearly as often, and that's why those players are in a world of their own. This is a player who has more to give and has shown development into 2020, and I think has a very comfortable spot on a team that's not going anywhere and can look forward to next year as well. Do you know who this player is? I would say his signature spot for me after watching demos on this channel is Cat on Mirage. That's right. This player is Config. I have him at number 15, and I'm feeling a little bit bad about it. I think he, along with, Montu, along with Blame F, snuck onto the radar a little bit, had great stats, had strong stats versus Tier 1 competition. He was a big match player. He improved his stats overall. Look at that jump from his all-time stats up 32 maps, 1.13. He was towering over his other statistics. Now to be fair, the discrepancy might be big, but this doesn't necessarily look good, right? Tier 2 maps are where your bread and butter are. You're going to be playing way more maps and top 10 teams or top 20. You're going to be playing way more maps versus these teams. So these ones will win you events, but you need to have consistency too. But still, insane. Really, really strong year. Really good stats versus top level. I think, you know what? I honestly, after thinking about it, maybe he even gets into the top 10 on HLTV at this point. Who knows? But there are going to be a number of snubs. I think it was written out pretty well in a few of the comments from the last video. There's going to be some players that should have definitely made the list. I want to say put it like that. I feel like there are going to be some European players that worked way too hard to not get recognition this year. That's the way I feel personally. And a comment about the CIS region. If what I said was taken incorrectly about Shiro, the CIS region is the strongest region in Counter-Strike by far. I mean, Denmark as a country is the strongest country in Counter-Strike, but in terms of overall region, in terms of the quality of teams that play there, and the fact that when they play against each other, you see 2-tier teams playing against each other, but what you don't see is that if these teams play in bigger events more consistently, they would place very high. They would have a high average of placings because they have super talents. They have Yukinder, they have Mir, they have players all of Team Spirit, right? All of VP, they have so many good players outside of Na'Vi And Navi can't win a goddamn match in the CIS. So when I talked about Shiro, I just kind of wanted to draw the distinction between like if North American results meant a lot, then Shiro's results in the CIS should mean a lot. When I kind of felt like neither of them should mean that much, because my only criticism of the results in North America and the results in Europe is like, and the results in the CIS is, even though in the CIS those are strong teams and the strongest tier 2 scene, it still is tier 2, and the top 10 teams, it's not country specific. It's a different level of Counter-Strike. It's just a more optimized level, higher level overall. It's harder to win events, right? These are the gatekeepers to the actual event wins, which you need. So you can have amazing tier 2 stats as much as you want, but all you can do is win tier 2 tournaments or prove that you could win tier 2 tournaments with that. And the few events that they did play versus tier 1 teams, they had good results, but not great. They showed they'll do it. Next year, they'll be great. But, got to be reasonable, right? Like, top 10 teams are top 10 teams. Okay. Yeah, so what are we looking at here? In terms of, let's go for best rating. I actually pulled up the showdown, which I think, honestly, my favorite event of the year probably was the Blast Fall showdown, just because I worked it. I like casted the entire thing, so I have a very good memory of it, and it just felt like it was so exciting because it was best of 3s, single elimination with new teams involved. Furia got tested. It was the first. It was either EG's first time or Liquid's first time in Europe, along with Furia. So it was really cool to watch for that reason, and a really strong event here for Config. And I wanted to look at one of his more real stomps, which is Complexity versus Sprout on Mirage, and another game where the T side I think was very, very interesting. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at that? We've got a 15-8 T side and a 15-6 T side from Blame F. On the CT side, but there's just not many rounds to win. But we've looked at Config play Mirage on the CT side on Cat, and seen how good he is at his rotations and how clean he is at the way he shoots and picks fights. Now let's take a look at the T side. And again, to try to connect it to the last demo a little bit, a T side Mirage demo, let's look at another one and then kind of compare the styles if we possibly can. And I don't know if there's anything else that we need to look at. I think I'm missing one here. This is supposed to be Crims. Sorry, you guys are probably losing your minds watching this video, seeing me type that incorrectly. And yeah, we'll see who number 15 is going to be. But yeah, Config is a player I have a lot of reverence for sure. Okay, so let's hop into the game, provided I have seen everything. We're playing on black bars because I know you sickos actually like to watch the games on their resolutions. For me, I'm watching this on stretched. Okay, so I'm watching this full HD 1024. Okay, it's not HD, but I'm not watching this game. I'm not making my eyes bleed by watching this game on my own PC on black bars. You guys have to, because apparently that's what you guys want. When I've taken games that were supposed to be black bars and made them stretched, there was nothing but tears, salty tears in the comments. So this is what happens. You guys get black bars, and you guys are wondering why I don't put the camera outside of the game. Is because it looks horrible. So this is what you get. I'm watching this edge to edge. Okay, 1024. What is this? Config dancing around in the smoke, looking for a player at the bottom of the stairs. Doesn't see anything, but just punishes Favid. And we see the entry pathing here for Config as he crosses. This is his only goal, is waiting for that flash, getting to this corner. Literally picking up a USP is a huge part of the plan, if possible. And there, after the first flash and peek is really important, right? Because the players in CT spawn, they're waiting for a flash because it's meta to flash and then try to retake it. But if they throw 2 flashes, one late, they actually catch the push when the CTs let their guard down. So it's actually a very, very important part of the whole strategy. I personally am not a huge fan of the fact that some of these rounds end in the CT retake exchange. I think it gets kind of random from that perspective. There's only so much you can do to like be innovative in terms of that kind of strategy. But it's a great way to get the bomb down, which is sometimes all you need. And I think, fuck, I just missed a kill. Sorry about that. I have such bad luck. I'll like wait too long and then fast forward to see when the round gets started, and then miss a kill instantly. But yeah, great way to get the bomb down on the A site, and sometimes that's all you need for your economy on T side. And yeah, basically the way I look at it when I'm casting is like, if you get a bomb down, that's a win. Like, you're happy, you're fine. You just buy in a round, and even if you don't buy, you can the other team is forced to upgrade early, so you spend their money just by planting. They can't just buy SMGs anymore, unless they got huge slanging rods. So this T side looks like it's a lot about blame F. Hold on, is the volume low? I feel like the volume is so low for some reason, and I want to turn this up. I'm going to turn this up for you in OBS. Make that, normalize the volume there. 0.1. That should be good. And this should be a little bit louder. I'm not exactly sure why it's so quiet, but yeah, it's fine. It could be a little bit louder. Let me go ahead actually just quickly update that and just hopefully just quickly, because I have a bind that basically does yeah, that basically when I fast forward it brings the volume back to a certain number, so I just gotta make sure. That it does that. Config looking to come up the A ramp. Ooh, stops on a dime, sees the feet of Snatchy, and we're gonna smoke the top of connector. We're gonna molly into CT. Really important to line that Molotov up because it's got to land on the top of the box to molly out the back properly. You do not want to throw that offhand. Try throwing it offhand into CT spawn and then running and seeing what it covers. It's very, very difficult to offhand throw a Molotov into CT spawn and make sure it covers everything. So I think that's one Molotov that's very important to line up. Another one would be on train when you're retaking from Z to the back of the B site. That's a very important HE to line up as opposed to just throw offhand. You can see how you could throw it a little bit off every time and basically do no damage. So that's all you need, basically. We see just how slick it is from config to just pull up, stop after he sees feet, instant punish on the first bit of presence, and he gets a good flash off versus Dennis, but Dennis is ready for the turn. He's got a teammate to support, and talking about support, flash goes high over mid. They decide to swing on it. This is also a gamble in the meta. Mirage being pretty much like the most pugged out map in the history of video games at this point. More so than Dust 2. Like, Dust 2 is out, Mirage is in that regard. Sometimes with mid control, it's like people have gone from perfectly taking mid on T side with the top mid smoke, with a window smoke, or both, or connector present, like connector Molotov, you know, barrel flash, high flat, like all of these different 6 consoles, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's gotten so insane, but I think now that all that's happened is it's just in the spin cycle where people are just going back to like no nades, running out mid, one flash, sometimes full nades, sometimes take control, and sometimes it depends on if the team that you're playing against really, you know, wants to. Imagine like the team you're playing against, they take mid control a lot, then you maybe are going to change how you play it, right? But let's say, for example, they jump cat a lot. Let's say that you think they're going to jump, like Team Spirit, they like to jump cat a lot. Sometimes they jump cat a lot. It's worse to throw all your grenades and take time to get out there. Sometimes you can run out with a couple of clean flashes, take a couple of very 50-50 duels, kill Mir when he's jumping up onto the catwalk, and you know have a duel in window, and the round's already over. This is a nerve-wracking position to be in if you're config, but if there's anybody you would trust to be here, it's him. Again, lining up that Molotov so you don't have to pause and play the video. And the nades have looked pretty good so far. HE goes back. Snatchy somehow finds config through so much chaos. I don't even know how he was able to see that. But, okay. Config dies. They lose the round. Let's continue forward. So far, a good demo. We're seeing like what OG was missing a little bit in their games, right? Where config is finding the entry, and then he's got also better grenade protocols to help them make space. They can just trust and move forward. It feels like OG are missing some of that discipline and some of the protocols to help them get out and across the A site. Here, config just tries to win his duel outside the window before the smoke pops, because that player is out in the open. So if he wins that, then it's just an easier plant, but they don't win. But they still win the round. Okay, no problem. They still win the round. What else do you have to say about that? 6-1. Oh, I should turn off my shoot, I had my AC going the whole time. Sorry, it must have been loud. All right. Where do we go from here? Back to holding into B. You see how the default? Oh man, this is a very annoying default, right? They've got chair control. They've got 1 and B apps. This is the weakest part of the default. And of course, part of the CD side is like understanding the team you're playing to know where the weakness is or whatever. Here, config's just got to be careful about trying to avoid ops. He's also trying to punish anybody who's pushed up close, and he actually does find this player, which is amazing for complexity. So let's just pause here for a second. So you see the insane amount of control that complexity have, plus now config is causing an issue for like the one push that they've made. So complexity know that they're going to be extremely scared right here. So this would be an interesting round to see what happens in this duel. I think very important that config doesn't die, even though he's already done some damage to the player in the back of the B halls. But if he wins this duel, you know, full control, like couldn't ask for a better start. And this is where at a minute, you're probably going to want to hold for another push to see if Sprout come for it. And then you can decide to pick a site. But basically, this is the ideal situation for the T side. And the guy in the B halls is probably wondering, like, oh no, like how many people are there with config? And for the moment, you know, sometimes a team isn't going to push and you can get them full passive, but they're still going to be scared and you know it. So there's the top connector kill, and yeah, the whole site gets crushed basically instantly. And it looks like that's all by Rush coming out of the palace as well. Weird timing on the flash, but the trades come through no problem. Everybody dies, and it looks like they didn't even have the best buy possible, but really just a perfect split. That's all you need. Okay, we're running across the middle of the site. 2 players trying to clear out the empty pillar. Now, config has the bomb, so he's not in a position to trade here. I don't know if they got the guy who was backside, if there was one, but now the bomb can get planted, and he's got a really important smoke to use. Okay, so he's going to use it on market door and just cross wide, which is a little bit scary, but they've got the kills to complement the post plant, and config now has cat control, right? You turn the corner here, you've got the bomb planted for cat. This is the round over. Once config takes this risks and clear this corner, like, see how he can just turn his back now. Oh my god, that was actually a little bit crazy. Since he could play off time completely, he almost put his teammate in a position to have to win the 1-on-2. That was beautiful from Blame F. I don't know if he meant to do that, but it was like a little bit of a bait to get the bullets out, and he banked the molly instead of just peeking with it, which is really smart. Straight billiards. Always try to bank your grenades. Okay, if you have the option to not peek, implore that option. Peeking while throwing grenades is the dumbest way to die. Sometimes, rarely, it has to happen. Otherwise, there's usually a lineup, a bank, a right click, a right left click, something. Okay, you've got physics, you've got a map with tons of a million angles. You just need an ounce of creativity, and you don't have to peek to throw your utility. Try to squeeze that creativity muscle. We look at JKS position. So he actually dies because he doesn't want to take the risk of going into window, and then the player in CT comes out. So that's why they end up winning, right? This is a position where we see what happens when you don't go for that extra bit of info. Now, he might have dueled with the guy in window, and that guy knew he was sitting in the corner, so he was relying on, you know, config to stay alive versus CT spawn, but that's why the round falls on its head. Not sure where that flash actually lands, if it just went to the other side of the barrel. And we're smoking into window, and let's see how they approach control here. It's a different default this time. It's lighter towards A with a push deep into Palace. No one's watching the A ramp. They can go back and check it if they want. It's obviously not that likely that a team, you know, pushes all the way through A ramp or all the way through Palace and check spawn, but it happens sometimes. So, you know, Orange is going to be very careful about it, especially if they don't see anybody else. Snatchy finds a late pick from connector to the top of mid. That's a very nice timing. Like, obviously, People are not just holding angles for that long a lot. So, late pick like that could be a good idea. And Config tries to bait with his AK, see if anybody is in connector. But there is. Deha is here. And what on earth? This is one hell of a dot. Of course, I think Rush plays on a different resolution, but wow. Got to watch a Rush demo too at some point. Who knows? Maybe he's on the top 20. I actually haven't even looked at his stats, so I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe that wouldn't be possible. I'm not sure. I haven't even looked really. I think he's pretty much just a role player. I feels like a lot of players who won the major have just become like complete role players. Apart from Automatic for Gen G, like players, because I guess the team has not as much success as some of the other rosters like Liquid or, Complexity or whatever. Ooh, nice round from Blame F. Feels like a lot of the major winners, Cold Zera, it feels like they're taking a lot more, like, happy to take support roles and develop other players and, like, do things like call and, yeah. It's kind of cool to see. Will that peak come back? Config could absolutely punish a cap player jumping across, 100%. He's got the quickness. So we got the exact same default where he gets to chair. One thing I've always said is that, like, it's really good on T side to work a position that you play on CT side because you know what that player would hate or what they would love. Same idea of playing like a MOBA and like playing a hero that you suck against, so you understand what that player is weak against. It's like the best. Like someone could tell you, but it'd be much easier for you to know if you just played it, right? Oh, nasty. Oh, nasty. Holy. The reactions. Everyone's dead. That could have easily been one kill that leads to two for the CT side and mid control. A bunch of guns left in mid. Okay. Speedy. Okay. Speedy does a great job of holding, but see this important position that Orange has? Talked about this with Valda sitting in the corner of the B site. This is a spot where, he can make sure that Config doesn't have to worry about someone coming out of market or someone coming out of the market window. And they have B apps control as well. So Config has a bomb planted for up there. And we'll see where he moves in the default, but he doesn't really have to. He can sit here on the bomb if he wants, and then eventually clear cat off because that's the only thing that Orange has to worry about. But for the most part, does not really have to move as, it's not quite as important. So he gets some info crossing the market window, and he'll grab a flash, and now he's just holding for cat. And the way that Config plays, just not scared. Like, he just is going to take a duel. If it's offered to him, he's probably going to win it. Okay, so that player dies now. So now it's like full alert for Config. He'll find a way to work around, and he's just going to try to use this pillar. Oh, man. He's going to use it well. It's Favin and Snatchy down. But even just that time delayed plus that information on the player in that corner, it just gives you, it makes you play different completely. Oh, no, Snatchy dies in the left corner of the window. And that's the op or down. So now you can take a little bit more freedom when it comes to the peaks because that's like either the op or the scout. We have a situation where Sprout don't have great guns. And, okay, that round is over to 12-2. Final round of the half. It's been a very interesting half so far. Lots of good stuff to talk about today. And Deha finds the kill. Okay, and they get the defuse 3-12. Not an amazing scoreline. Absolutely terrible scoreline, to be honest. But they did what they could. How can you stop Blame F and Config when they're on a tear like that? I hope you enjoyed that one. We're a little bit late, 3 o'clock already. But, yeah, live reaction to the newest player announced by HLTV Top 20. And then tomorrow I'll just do it around 2 as well and just watch for the latest one. There's no reason for me to upload like 10 minutes before when the player comes out. So, yes, maybe I should have talked about Crims as well. But I was kind of surprised about Crims because what have Fnatic really done this year? I don't know. I hate to put it that, like, just to be that dry, but I just, like, I didn't even watch Fnatic because, like, yeah, I'm just, I'm kind of confused. Anyways, I'll I'll see you tomorrow. Okay, for another Coach Lau. See ya.